All right, let's dive right into AEW Dynamite this week. I thought it was an okay show. It wasn't one of the greater episodes that I've seen recently, but it did have its good moments. The exploding barbed wire match. So I'm a little nervous, but excited to see that at the same time. I have not seen one before. I have to look up old Japanese footage, but I did do some research. And I know, as far as I know, they're going to have some minor, small C4 explosives in the ring underneath the padding and possibly inside the turnbuckles as well. I assumed that the ropes are going to be replaced by barbed wire, but on Dynamite they said they're going to be wrapped in barbed wire, so I guess they're going to be doing it a little differently from what we've seen in the past. So you know, Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega have a history of having brutal matches. So I mean, this is going to be 10 times more than we've ever seen from both of them. Like I said, I'm a little worried, but they're both really good at what they do, so I think that they can pull it off without hopefully getting any serious injuries. It's going to be fantastic, though. I mean, it's going to be so good. I mean, Jon Moxley's promo on AEW was amazing. I mean, that dude, when it comes to promos, I mean, in ring he's amazing too, but when it comes to promos, I mean, he is top tier. Like top tier. And that was, I mean, it was passionate, it was serious, you believed everything he said, it like hyped you up, you like felt it. You felt a good promo, you can feel. And I mean, I felt that. And then we have Sting and Darby Allin versus Team Taz. And my favorite part of that was the video package with Sting driving and then Darby Allin coming out of the body bag with that smile was so good. And then when Sting came into the arena, also with the body bag, everybody's like, oh, it's Darby Allin. He's going to like come out and like he's returning. But it was Hook. That was good. That was good because that brought the feud to be like at an even more personal level, having that be Taz's son. And then having Sting look pretty good in the ring when he was fighting. You know, he looked pretty good. Like, he didn't do a lot, but he looked pretty good. For someone in his early 60s, I don't think that he should be wrestling much after this. I think that, you know, wrestling promoters should learn from what happened to Jerry Lawler when he had a heart attack on Monday Night Raw live 1 hour after his match. I mean, this is a man in his early 60s, and he was wrestling. So now you have Sting in his early 60s wrestling. I don't think it's the best idea. I don't know. I just don't think anyone in their like late 50s, early 60s should be wrestling. I mean, a lot of stars in WWE right now are in their early 40s. I mean, it's hard to believe. Late 30s, early 40s, there's a lot of wrestlers that you wouldn't really suspect to be at that age. I mean, in the Elimination Chamber, the youngest person in the Raw WWE Championship Chamber, the youngest person was Drew McIntyre at 35. I mean, you have Sheamus and AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy, I believe, all at the age of 43. And Kofi Kingston, I think in his late 30s, early 40s. Even in the Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble in January, almost everybody was like late 30s, early 40s, if not older, which is becoming a common theme in WWE right now. A lot of the younger guys are in NXT, and that's fine. I think late 30s, early 40s is like totally fine for wrestling. I think that once you hit 50, I think that's when you really want to consider retiring, not just because you're probably not at the top of your game anymore, and you don't really want to tarnish your legacy of being as good as you were, but also you don't want to get hurt. And especially if you're a father, you want to be able to be active with your kids and, you know, play, you know, baseball, whatever with your kids, whatever you want to do. You want to be able to, like, you know, play outside with them. I've heard, you know, Mick Foley say that he has trouble even lifting his kids up because of what he's been through in his career. And, you know, that's really sad. So, you know, I think it's cool. You know, he's going to be in a street fight, but I think after this, maybe take on a managerial role. Speaking of which, The Big Show, or Paul Wright, I should say, has signed with AEW. That is, it's a big signing. I mean, I've never really been like a huge fan of Big Show's character in the ring. I mean, they didn't really write him very well. It was like, I feel like every 3 months he had a heel turn, a face turn, a heel turn, a face turn. They really didn't use him that much. They only really used him if there was a champion, primarily a face champion, and they wanted to give him a big challenge. So, like, Vince or Triple H or whoever's in charge on screen at the time would be like, you're going to defend the title against the Big Show. I mean, and he hasn't wrestled since, to my knowledge, since his short match after at WrestleMania last year against Drew McIntyre. But he's in the best shape of his life, though. So he probably could wrestle. But I would much prefer him as a trainer, working backstage, even as a commentator, because Big Show, the wrestler, I wasn't always a fan of, but Big Show, the human being and the person, is probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He is so nice, so chill, so funny. I mean, he's just an overall great guy. So having him in the company, I think it is a great idea. You know, you want to surround yourself with, like, just, you know, great people that you can trust. And I know that this came about because him and WWE could not come to an agreement as far as finances for his new contract, which I totally get. You know, WWE has a tendency sometimes to kind of lowball people as far as, you know, money goes, and I know Big Show knows his worth. And, you know, without any disrespect to WWE, I think he was probably just like, okay, listen, you know, that's a no-go for me, I'm sorry. Especially now with this Netflix show, it's like the Big Show is not, you know, he's not a giant name like The Rock and Stone Cold, but he, you know, he has a name behind him. So I think, you know, I think it's a cool signing. You know, I was hesitant, but now I'm like, you know what, it could be good. You know, as long as they don't give him a title or something, you know, I'm cool with it. I think. Oh yeah, speaking of making feuds more personal, so like they did with Sting and Hook, what I didn't like is what happened with Chris Jericho and MJF and the Young Bucks. So they had Chris Jericho and MJF attack the Young Bucks' father to make it more personal. Now, my issue with that is, yeah, I guess it accomplishes what they meant to do, but we've seen that so many times in WWE, and AEW, you know, prides themselves on being different from WWE and not taking any storylines from them and just doing their own unique things. But how many times have we seen that? I mean, the first one that comes to mind was back in, I believe, 2009, Randy Orton and John Cena were feuding. It might have been 2008, and Randy Orton punted John Cena's dad in order to make that feud more personal. And that's not the first time that's happened. We've seen that many times in WWE. And I mean, it's obvious. We know they didn't actually attack him. You know, 1 minute he's fine, the next minute they pan to him and he's covered in blood. And then they threw him into, like, the trailers, but you can clearly see he put his hands up. He didn't actually hit them, which is fine. I mean, I know that's what they're supposed to do, but they're supposed to make it look more believable. He's not a wrestler. He's, you know, an older guy. He's not going to be able to sell it as much as the Young Bucks themselves would have. So I don't think they needed that. I think they could have come up with a more creative idea to make the feud more personal, but that's just me. I mean, you know, I'm excited to see where it goes, though, because the Inner Circle itself has taken a turn I didn't expect. Like, having MJF join, I didn't expect that months ago. But, you know, him and Chris Jericho are gold together, so I'm loving it. I'm excited to see what happens with Sammy Guevara. I would love to see him as a face. I'm a little nervous because I heard rumors about what happened with him and AEW management. I heard they wanted him to do a storyline in Impact Wrestling now that they have this, like, agreement. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. And he refused to do that. And they were like, okay, that's fine. But, I mean, that's definitely going to lose him trust with AEW management. Because, you know, as a young wrestler, like, if it was Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho was like, you know what, I don't like the direction of that storyline, I'd rather do this, I think Chris Jericho can get away with that. Sammy Guevara is a new name. He's young, and he's not fully established yet. I don't think he has the... I just don't think he has the I don't want to say the right, because everybody has the right to turn down an angle if they really don't feel passionate about it, but there's going to be consequences, and I hope that he knows what he was doing turning that down. I guess we'll see. And that brings me to Shaq and Jade versus Cody Rhodes and Black Velvet. So, and I know it was supposed to be Cody Rhodes and his wife, but obviously she got pregnant, so that couldn't happen, which gives Black Velvet a chance. Honestly, I'm more excited for Black Velvet versus Jade. That's going to be great. I think Jade and Black Velvet are both really talented. I'm excited to see what Jade can do in the ring. She's pretty good on the microphone so far. She's a little annoying, but she's a heel, so that's what she's supposed to be. Extremely and insanely athletic. So I'm excited about that. Shaq in the ring, I mean, I don't want to say it's going to be painful because I've never seen him in the ring, so I don't know. I mean, he could surprise me. Do I think he will? No. I understand that they're trying to get some mainstream media behind it, bringing Shaq into it, but that's another problem. That's exactly what WWE does. AEW is supposed to focus on the wrestling and on the young talent and building the young talent. So to bring Shaq in, they're doing something WWE would do, and I just don't think it's a good idea. I understand they're trying to boost their ratings. I get it. But there's other ways of doing that. There are other ways of doing that to boost their ratings. They have to understand that they're new, and their ratings are not going to be as high as WWE's, like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, that have been around for over 20 years. It's going to take time. If they just continue to put out amazing product, I think their ratings would slowly, continuously go up. I don't think that they need to rush it and all of a sudden get these super high ratings right away. I don't think this is the way to do that. It feels too WWE to me. It does. And, you know, that's not what I want from AEW. AEW is supposed to be an alternative to WWE. So I'm just not feeling it. The Matt Hardy versus Adam Page feud, that I'm excited for. I love them both. I've been a fan of the Hardys all my life. Adam Page is fantastic. Him, you know, and the Dark Order, their relationship, I'm loving that. Matt Hardy as a heel, I was hesitant about, but now I'm actually liking it. I think it should be good. I think that match will be really good. So the ending of the pay-per-view, not the pay-per-view, of AEW Dynamite, I was lukewarm about. It didn't seem like a big match to me, but I mean, you know, what can you do? But overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad episode. I think that they could have handled a lot of different storylines better, but I mean, we'll see next week. You know, I'm very interested in seeing what they're going to do next week, so we'll see how that goes. So, you know, I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm also excited for you guys to give me your feedback. You know, I haven't had much feedback yet. I know I'm very new. I know I'm not getting as many views as I'd like right now. I feel like AEW Dynamite, like, trying to get more views. Maybe I should have Shaq on the show. Who knows? No, but I don't think he would even fit in my car, so that might be an issue. 'Cause then I'd have to change my whole shtick. But anyway, getting sidetracked. I would love to hear your opinions on anything that I have said, on what you think of AEW Dynamite this week, and what AEW is going to be doing in the future as far as the pay-per-view and upcoming episodes. So, yeah, I mean, so like I said, like and subscribe, enjoy my videos, and I hope to hear your opinions.